Jamie Schessler, speaking on the affirmative half for Internet censorship. Censorship should be utilized as a tool to protect society from harmful or corrosive posts on the Internet. This could range anywhere from bullying to terrorism to cybercrime even. This will protect national security, and it will limit bullying for sexual orientation, religion, race, intelligence capability, anything that has a targeted group. Internet censorship could really help. This would also limit pornography, and oftentimes we have pornography available online to anyone, and the restrictions aren't very, they're not very forced, and so these fall into hands of minors, children, and it creates early addiction. Also, there are violent posts, so anything from like other countries that have wars going on or child abuse, those are also available on the internet. That's very scarring to our society. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, any social networking, there aren't very censored posts. There are options for users to flag anything that's offensive, but oftentimes these aren't used. This internet censorship would really just help promote equality, protection, and just create a more harmonious society altogether. Censorship is the suppression or prescription of speech or writing that is deemed to be obscene, indecent, or controversial. Obscenity is described as indecency, lewdness, or offensiveness in behavior, expression, or behavior, or appearance. Words, act, expressions, anything that's indecent should be monitored on the internet. A web filter is a program that screens a web page to determine if all of the information or videos or pictures on that web page should be displayed. Not all of it could be censored, just parts of it. And the First Amendment is often argued against, so I'll explain the expression of the First Amendment that are often seen as violated with censorship. This is the right to speak freely without government interference, and freedom of the press, which is to publish news, info, opinions without interference. So this also means anyone can personally publish their own papers or magazines. This would really, like I said, create a harmonious society. There's no discrimination, and equality is really important in our society advancing, and so this is so much greater than those rights to speech that we're not taking away. We're just limiting the things that are infringing upon other people's rights. No porn, no violence. This could really just limit addiction, and it wouldn't influence or scar society like these videos are. Terrorism threats could be tracked. Internet censorship is really just necessary for national security of the U.S. and the equality of their citizens. Censorship should be utilized as a tool to produce a harmonious society, but not to infringe upon the First Amendment rights. I now stand for questioning.
So, Jamie, you're saying that one of your points were that the filters would not completely filter sites, they would just filter parts of a site?
Yes.
And that these filters are always effective, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any more questions after that.
We'll just start.
My name is Austin Ray, and I am for the negative side of internet censorship or filtering. First off, internet filters are very defective. They have many holes in the system. They're not always reliable. They don't catch every detail on websites that they scan through. Many pictures can be posted under a random name, something that has nothing to do with the picture itself, and the internet filters won't be able to catch it. They only search for certain words in a website, like something that said pornography or marijuana. The filters would search through, find those words, and then block the website or block that part. It might be something not even pertaining to marijuana or pornography. It might be ways to prevent the use of marijuana, or something bad about marijuana, or preventing someone from looking at pornography. So filters will sometimes block those websites that could potentially be helpful. As you can see in our school system, many websites are blocked for quote-unquote uneducational reasons. But many of these websites can be used for educational reasons. Like just up until recently, YouTube has been blocked for not being able to be educational. But teachers have shown that they can use it for educational reasons. There are many websites like that. Like in some cases, Wikipedia is blocked, and many other educational websites. The world is becoming more technologically advanced, and why are we restricting the internet that could potentially be used for many educational reasons? Filters can never be 100% useful because as children grow and they become more technologically savvy, they learn how to disable these filters. As they grow up, they can see what a parent does to put a filter on, and they can figure out how to stop these filters. Some even learn just to bypass them, to find out a hole that they can slip right on through past the filter and look at whatever they want. Some parents even put them on their significant other's computer, which sometimes causes trust issues, like one parent doesn't trust the other and have a computer because they don't know what they're going to be doing on it. The internet is way too expansive for anybody to completely block out anything that is bad. Like, there's so much stuff on the internet that it would take a very long time to be able to filter all that and to continually go through and make sure that all the filters are still active. Why would we filter also potential knowledge? You don't know what you're filtering if you don't let everyone look at it, and some person might find interest in that or find knowledge in that. There's more to the internet than anyone could actually realize either. If you think of the internet as an iceberg, there is a top layer which everybody uses, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, which connects all those other websites. But there's more to it. There is, I guess you could say, a deeper part of the internet. If you think of it, the iceberg, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are on the top, and then if you get down into the iceberg, there become other websites such as Reddit and 4chan, places like that, which they do show, or you can find things that you might not even know about. And after a while, if you have a special tool, you can completely break through the iceberg, get right to the ocean, and that reveals even more deeper parts of the internet. And after that, there's the deep ocean, which are places like the black market, things like that, which are very hard to track, very hard to be able to filter. And a lot of people like to think that the government controls filters, or parents control filters, but they don't. They can potentially put a filter up, but they can't ultimately control it. When SOPA was released, a group reappeared, the Anonymous Group, who was an internet-based society. They showed that they could do things to the government by hacking their websites, destroying some of their profiles that people didn't think were possible. They thought the government should have control of this, but ultimately they don't. Every 1 in 4 hackers in the United States work for the United States government, but even then they all cannot be trusted. I now stand.
So, do SOPA and things like PIPA, do they track individual users, or do these solely track piracy and counterfeit threats?
Yes.
And if things are vulgar, scarring, or anything extreme, like these internet filters could censor out at least those parts of the pages, they wouldn't censor the pages as a whole. Should we allow these to citizens and let them damage the citizens?
That depends on the type of filter you use.
And is this increase in terrorism, cybercrime, and bullying not a problem?
People will find ways to get around it one way or another.
Well, like we talked about, the social networking sites, they have flagging by users, but are these really beneficial if crimes on the internet, like piracy that you even talked about, is that beneficial, or do we need something greater like an internet censorship or the government to regulate?
The internet censorship it's a good idea, but the problem with it is there are many ways to get around it, many ways that people can figure out in no time.
Well, do you think that just because it is not a possibility to check the whole internet as a whole right now, that we should try to keep our citizens safe, to keep our country safe?
It's a valid reason, but again, if you can't completely block it out and stop it, then why attempt it?
Internet censorship is really just necessary. If government can regulate the media, like television, anything on the radio or movies, why should they not be able to censor the internet? This is very closely related and often categorized as the same thing, except for when something as important as safety is an issue. SOPA and PIPA, they prevent piracy of music, movies, logos, and anything copyrighted. This is great because piracy detracts from the sales and our economy, which could be categorized as interstate commerce, which we know is controlled by the national government. That alone is reason for the government to take part in this, to get into censorship. This allows to track the origin of piracy or track the origin of terrorism threats through IP addresses and even VIP addresses. And cybercrimes have increased. We lose $100 billion a year in cybercrime. By 2017, it's predicted to be $121 billion a year. That is a huge increase. From 2011 alone, it was $63.7 billion a year. That nearly doubles it. There are 556 million victims a year that lose their identity online. That's 1.5 million a day. 1 out of 10 of every user in social networking become a victim to hacking or spam. 61% of those hacking and spams are criminals. They are not web-based scammers. 68% of those losses are unrecoverable. And the U.S. is the second leading nation with cybercrime. It contributes to 19.7% of cybercrime across the world. Bullying has increased. There's 25% of teens have been repeatedly bullied online through social media. Only 20% of those crimes have been reported to the law. These are hate crimes produced from prejudice. These crimes can be anywhere from videos, pictures, or written responses. Censorship should not have a negative connotation. It protects from obscenity, from violence, it tracks IP addresses, locates threats, limits piracies, and you know what? If the government can't have control over it, there needs to be laws for companies to monitor. Government officials do find holes, but they're hired to do this. They're hired to search for the holes in sensors and firewalls. They're not to invade the system, they're to improve the system. SOPA and PIPA would decrease piracy, they would decrease counterfeit. And no, it's not infringing upon posting freedom, it's for protecting the citizens, which is the greater good. If the web pages are moral and they're not discriminatory, they shouldn't be categorized as discriminatory on their description. And if they are moral, then these acts like SOPA and PIPA should not be a problem to the U.S. Britain self-regulates. If there's objection to the government regulation, Britain has a self-regulatory system, and they have almost 9% less than the U.S. in cybercrime.
With internet crimes, on average, it takes, by the time someone hacks in or steals something or pirates music, it takes on average at least 3 months for that to be raised and be flagged as a crime had happened. That leaves whoever stole or pirated that music, it leaves them 3 months to run them up, do whatever they want. They can change everything on their computer. They could get rid of that computer. That's on average, though. Along with the companies, though, monitoring their systems, there were 1 million companies, as they got on the website to check. That is when viruses hacked into them. That is when antivirus software was destroyed, because when those companies went to check, whoever else was monitoring that website that wasn't part of the company. That is what allowed them to gain access into their main systems and steal money from them. On Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, where you're allowed to flag